Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Neurosis map generator. So let's go ahead and take a look at our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the Northwest, ending with Team 2 in the Southeast. Starting off with Team 1 Southern player, working our way northward, we have in Amethyst Purple Joker as a UEF. He is a 1501 rated player to his north. In Royal Blue is the Seraphim player of Schumer. He is a 1375 rated player, and again, he's in Royal Blue. And last but not least, for Team 1 in the north is It's Coming Home. He is a Cybran. He is a 2001 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 1 and in the game overall. And again, he is in Stitch Blue. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have a Cybran, a Seraphim, and a UEF, which means Team 1 lacks Aeon technology. Starting off with Team 2 Southern player and working our way northward, we have in Ruby Red in the rear, Soul Ripper Noob as a UEF, as a 1779 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 2. To his north in Chevy Crimson is another UEF for Team 2. It is Tarnow 11? Yeah, I think that's pronounced. He is a UEF, and he is a 1481 rating. And last but not least, for Team 2 in Orange Color Orange is Zach as a Seraphim. He is a 1591 rated. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 UEF and 1 Seraphim. So not only do they lack Cybran technology, they also lack Aeon technology like Team 1, which means for the entirety of the game, there are no Aeon players. Apologies to those loyal to the Princess. Hopefully you will enjoy the match nonetheless. And for 6 players on the map, let's take a look at how much reclaim they have to scoop up. Currently sitting at exactly 0. That's not, there is no mass, which, I mean, there are trees, so there's that, but there are no rocks, there's no nothing, so 0 mass in reclaim to scoop up, which makes the math really easy because it is 0 mass per player. Definitely, I think the first time I've ever seen that. But to counteract that here for our players, there are a decent amount of mass points for a 3v3. There is a couple of 5-star mixes here, at least taking a look at Team 2 side of the map specifically. There's 2 5-star mixes here just at the front gates of Zwirerzak's main base. We do see there's a couple mixes down here, and there's also a quad mix position down here in the southwest that will most likely go to Soul Ripper Noob unless there's some interesting entanglements here with his opponents. And on the tip of the peninsula up here to the north for Zwirerzak as well, there's also a Trimex. And there are, I guess, 2 Trimex positions in the middle, but that's going to be a lot of hard-fought mass points to grab here. And besides that, not really a lot of other grouping of mass points here. Also, oh, excuse me, there is one. There is a quad mex position, which Tarnow has access to and control over. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at where our players are headed off to. I'm going to slow it down just to +1 so that we don't miss any of the early harassment outbound from our players. If there is any transport, Ladyman Engineers moving into the west, going for that nice little hydrocarbon position just to get a little bit more energy income into his coffers. He's, built a lot of mexes very, very quickly here, and it's kind of struggling on power, so he desperately needs that additional power. Not consumption, but production. I think he's going to build a nice little e-storage next to it, looks like. Oh, actually, that's a radar system. Apologies. I'll be able to take out some of that cost for said structure. But there are the incoming forces from Team 1. We do see It's Coming Home is moving along the northern edge, grabbing this peninsula position, as well as a couple of units outbound from Schumer moving in. And I've already taken out the radar system that was just built moments ago. And they're going to take out the hydrocarbon here that Zwirerzak just spent his hard-earned mass on. We do see in the south calm-on-calm action here between Joker and Tarnow. And now Soul Ripper Noob is actually behind Joker. And now we see Tarnow is technically behind Joker in some sort of, if he goes to retreat back to his main base direction. Which means in this game, Team 1 is most likely going to lose the first play of the game. 2 shots for every 1 shot here for Joker. They're all UEF, so there's no difference in hit point counts. And possibly Team 2 will just blitz him down. And Soul Ripper Noob is not moving to chase, so it's just going to be Tarnow pushing him back. So he's going to be forced into the water for a decent while. But we do see that Soul Ripper Noob is going to move in, and looks like he's going to take out the units building up here for Joker. And Joker actually making a nice little hook maneuver around to get back onto land so that he can fight with his commander. We also see a nice little naval system going to be started here pretty shortly here by Team 2, Solar Noob. So not only is he most likely going to go for air, he's also going to go for Navy, at least for the T2 UEF, I would assume, because he is UEF, of course, and going for those mighty cruisers, those governor-class nonsense cruisers. The Seraphim have them as well, but the governors, of course, were the first ones to deploy that missile system on board those ships. A couple of mechs is being taken off here in the south. Zwarzak has now moved in to protect his investment in that hydrocarbon and going to rebuild his radar system and then push back against incoming forces from Schumer and his commander. Naval factory has now been built here for It's Coming Home, essentially in the exact same position as his opponent of Solar Noob. Very interestingly, that both of these air players are going for Navy. You do see T2 is online here for Solar Noob, and T2 is online here for It's Coming Home. Very interestingly here, both of these players have the exact same mindset so far at 8 minutes on, almost 8 minutes on the clock. Gun speeding range has been started for Schumer, just right outside Zwarzak's positioning, and he is being forced back a little bit by that little Zooey that's been built by Schumer, so he's going to fall back and probably establish a nice little fire line. In the middle of the map, though, he has a nice little just spam facility coming online. Unfortunately, there's a couple of artillery pieces moving in, taking out that PD, allowing for more units to come in undeterred. And now we see that Solar Noob not engaging the main forces here for Joker, just decides to cross the waters and go for this trimix position on the peninsula. We do see there's an engineer down here. Is he going to capture? Is he going to capture? No, he's not going to capture. He's going to get reclaimed. Oh, that's unfortunate one to see structures get captured in this game. You don't really see it that often. When you do, it's a really nice play most of the time, but you hardly ever see that because it just takes so long. We do see the same mixes being taken offline by Team 1, so very much a mirrored situation going down here between both of the rearguard air slot players that are also dipping their toes into the water as well. Gun speeding range is almost done here for Zwarzak. Nano repair is coming online here for Joker to wrap up the remaining hit points he has lost. We do see a frigate is still harassing the mexes here for Zwarzak, cutting his eco down. Not a lot, but 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mexes at a minimum is definitely a decent amount of mass to lose per second. Gun damage range has been started for Joker, and we do see that Solar Noob has grabbed these mexes and is now going to probably establish himself on this peninsula, but there is a nice little horde of T1 strikers inbound, and I don't know if it's going to be enough to kill him off, but it will be enough to probably make him think twice about staying put there. We do see that there is a frigate nearby to assist with bombardment ordnance for that positioning. We do see that, of course, the strikers are moving out of range of said frigate, but Solar Noob might just dip his toes back into the water just to make sure that he's protected. He doesn't want to get bombed by some Janus or any other Team 1 bomb or T2 bombers that might back for Team 1, or from Team 1 at least. A couple of Ilshis online for the Seraphim play of Schumer, pushing back the forces in the middle here for Team 2's Zwarzak. And now that Solar Noob is not on the front lines here, all these forces from Joker have moved into the middle, claimed the middle for Team 1, and have taken Zwarzak's central position. We do see a comm with a comm on a transport. I guess not comm with a transport, comm on a transport. Inbound, we see that 2 of those 3 mexes have been taken. This one is somehow still alive. Don't know why it is, but it is. And this comm of It's Coming Home is moving into the dual 5-star mech positions of Zwarzak, getting PD down immediately and taking them out. This is a great move by It's Coming Home, denying a ton of mass income here for Zwarzak. It does open the door for his teammate of Schumer to push back more effectively against his opponent in the land department. And this is going to be deadly here. If It's Coming Home doesn't get out of here, I mean, this could be a suicide play possibly, but he's banking on the fact that a transport can come back and probably pick him up, or he can just hop back into the water. Team 2 needs to respond to this almost instantly. If not, it's just going to be more and more damaging. But Broadsword is online. We do see some interceptors waiting to engage something from Team 2, and now 5 of the 10 mexes are now down. Team 1 is now winning the mass game here, and now we see Zwarzak is falling back. Again, he's trying to hold the line, but he's suffering in the mass income department, and now pushback here from the south, outbound from Tarnor, trying to again distract at least Team 1's Joker for a minimum. And we do see some of those Riptides moving in. We'll take out that naval facility quite quickly. And the comm does have a transport with some more engineering support. I think he's going to swap out, maybe get his comm out of there. Is he going to pick up his commander? Maybe, possibly, maybe, but he's getting a shield back online. He really wants to just hold the position, at least for a little bit longer. We have some missile launchers outbound trying to, again, force his position to collapse. T2PD in range as well for Zwarzak, just desperately trying to keep their opponent at bay. I don't know where that gunship went off to, but it went off somewhere. Looks like they went after those hover tech units of the Riptides, but wasn't able to save that naval facility. But this is still a great position and great grab here by Team 1. It's definitely a very risky play putting your commander this far forward. But, of course, if it works, it works. And so far, he's taken off 10 of these mexes here. And if they were all T2 at a minimum, that's 60 mass a second. Sorry, that's 50 mass. Nope, that is 60 mass a second. I was like, wait, I did the math right. And that is a lot of mass per second to lose, especially at this stage. And that essentially cuts Zwarzak's eco in half, where he's not able to fund as many projects as he would like. But there are now T3 spearheads online, and It's Coming Home needs to get out of there sooner rather than later. If that transport is killed off, that could be deadly. Transport is being targeted by missile launchers, and will the transport be taken out before It's Coming Home leaves? It will be, even though this frigate's in the water protecting an interceptors nearby. This move by It's Coming Home is crumbling. T2 PD, T3 spearheads, and T2 missile launchers as well, just forcing their way forward. It's Coming Home. It's going to have to just dip its toes into the water and hide. We do see that Zwarzak is moving into assist here. Of course, it's a great play here by It's Coming Home. He's able to escape at least for a little bit of time and be able to, of course, inflict heavy damage to Zwarzak's eco specifically. Anybody else on Team 2 wasn't really affected by that besides being distracted by other pursuits of construction efforts. And Joker has fallen back into the water just to make sure he doesn't get assassinated by those broadswords that were built by Team 2's Soul Ripper Noob. And he's going for tactical missile. He may go for Billy Nuke. I think it's a little bit too early for Billy Nuke, but he might go for it sooner rather than later. He is UEF. That is his ability to do so. But he's going to start poking and prodding at Joker's eco and trying to at least strike at a safer distance, unlike what It's Coming Home did. But like I said, it was a risky play. It worked for a decent amount of time, to be fair, especially at this stage in the game. But it's going to be a matter of time where we have to determine if it's going to be enough for him or not. We do see some missile launchers, and he doesn't even finish it. Looks like he's building some T1 PD to counteract these Zui inbound. And the Zui don't see this PD emplacement, and the missile launcher system will be built. We do see some Utashalas on the shoreline to protect, and also some more TMD, which is going to counteract that missile launcher quite nicely. And in the north, nano repair has been started by Schumer. He has, of course, that gun online. T3 almost done here for Soul Ripper Noob. So he's trying to be a little bit more tanky in his hit points to be able to survive any sort of instant retaliations by Team 1. And at 16 minutes, Team 1 sitting at 360, 70 mass income. Team 2 at almost 300. They would have been essentially tied with Team 1 if it wasn't for that assassination by It's Coming Home on the mass income department. We do see that Zwarzak's probably just going to build some more T2 mechs. And I think he's suffering in the mass department quite significantly. He just needs to get his income back up and running, and he's going to get a little bit more from those Cerberus PD, but it's not going to be enough to stave off the bankruptcy that he's facing. He's trying to rebuild as fast as he can. T3 is done on board Soul Ripper Noob's commander. He has the missile loaded, and of course this is the range that he can fire it at, essentially almost to the main base of Joker, but a huge section of the map here. This isn't a 20 by 20, so it's a large amount of the map that he can target just with that commander alone. Large group of T2 Ilshis mounting here in the north. It's starting to be a little bit more deadly here against Team 2. There's really not a lot of forces that can fire back against this. Now we have Salem's walking on land, defying all of the other naval units. I also noticed there's a secondary gun underneath the bow of that ship. Didn't notice that. You can see it right there, a little nubbin on the bottom. I wonder what that is. It looks like maybe it's a closer range. Oh, it's the torpedo launcher. That's what it is. That's what that is. I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. That is the torpedo launcher. Huh. Cool. I didn't notice that till now. But it's also kind of hard to see from this angle anyways, because it's hidden underneath the top of the ship. We do see that those forces outbound from Tarnor are pushing in against Joker's position. Of course, Joker does have some T3 units as well as Tarnor, but of course, without having those Perseus here and having more of them here for Team 2, it will only favor Team 2 in this engagement, especially with a missile launcher on board, going after more and more of the mechs here for Joker, really just kind of hamstringing his ability to really fight back against his opponents, essentially doing the exact same thing that It's Coming Home did, except from a safer distance and not as quick of a damaging effect. It's going to take a little bit of time to fire a missile, reload the missile, and in that time, Team 1 has the ability to counteract it a lot easier than Team 2 did. We do see some Bolters coming in to assist for Zwarzek, getting some revenge on Team 1. T3 Spearheads moving into range to try to just poke and prod at whatever they can on Joker's side of the map. We do see that a Salem is now in range of Zwarzek's commander, keeping him on his toes. And of course also in range of the T2 mechs that have been built. But now that Salem is in range of that PD, and that overcharge comes in, takes out most of the hit points, and the PD will finish it off. Great grab here by Zwarzek. Looks like it was just on a move order. Didn't expect the PD to be there. And it was killed off for it. Ilshi's moving in. Again, keeping Zwarzek constantly on the defensive here. Even more mechs have been taken out against Tarnor as well. So Team 2 just constantly suffering loss after loss after loss in the mass department. And in the west, though, Team 2 is fighting back, going after the core mechs now for Joker. And it's going to land, taking out 3 of those 4 east storages, mass storages as well. Another missile is outbound. Another missile is outbound, and another one, and another one, and another one. He's getting assistance from his engineers to really pump out those missiles quite quickly, just to fire one after the other, after the other, after the other. Kind of reminds me of my campaign mission from the earlier in the week, where I just pumped out nukes constantly. Oh, that was a very interesting, interesting mission to do, and it was on hard and all of that. So it was definitely a fun experience. If you haven't checked out that video, go ahead and do so. It's a really fun game. It really starts to just kick off once I recover the part that ends up being shot out of the sky by the Aeons. It's just nuke after nuke after nuke. It kind of gets kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. But on Team 1's side of the field, they have almost the entire northern section under the control. Team 2 doesn't have everything. They have almost everything on the southern edge, but Team 1 is in the higher percentage of map control territory, as well as the mass department, meeting at 500 plus mass income. Team 2 at, let's say, 430 to make the math a little bit easier. It's about 70 mass per second more for Team 1. Nobody has been killed off as of yet, so both teams have all of their starting players still alive. But let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching this point in the video. And of course, I encourage each and every one of you to watch till the end, because why not? You've already made it this far. Why not watch till the end and see how this match plays out? We do see an attempt by Joker to force back Soul Ripper's incoming forces, but there's just so many Team 1 PD built very quickly by the T3 engineering suite on board and the engineers assisting him as well. It's really not going to make any difference here, unfortunately, here for Joker. A couple of strikers did kill off some of the build power, but not enough, unfortunately, to make a huge dent. We do see now those mechs is being taken offline once again by Team 1's It's Coming Home. And we do see that Salem has now walked the entire distance and is really forcing back Zwarzek into a corner. There's really not much he can do about it at this point. He just needs some more T2 artillery to fight back at this incoming pressure. Or the gunships could come in and handle that as well. That's also a valid strategy. But they're going after the Ilshis in the middle first. There's a lot of dead units around the map. This map started with 0 mass in terms of reclaim on the field. And now it's sitting at 40,000. We haven't seen an experimental as of yet, but there is a Cybern on Team 1, so we might see that Moleculoid sooner rather than later. And that is going to most likely obviously be built by It's Coming Home, but he's not building a experimental as of yet. I don't see anything on Team 1. Team 2 side of the map, nothing of the sort as well. So we might be about the 30-minute mark. Ladder matches, of course, take a little bit longer to really get that experimental game going. And those Zui getting into the mist here for those Salems and those frigates. And they're still pumping just shells constantly at the mass extractors for Zwarzak. He's really just taking a beating this game, and he's still sticking with it. So great tenacity here from Zwarzak. ASFs move in. The gunships are like, oh, we got to get out of here. Airfight doesn't occur. It looks like it was about to, but it's coming home, pulled his forces out at just the right moment to disengage. We do see a spam army is being built here in the west here by Soul Ripper Noob. He's pumping out those Lobos to deal with all of the structures over here. Just, again, trying to distract Team 1. Joker's forces on his southern side of the middle really suffering here. He really doesn't have much left. And we do see that, of course, Soul Ripper Noob. I don't know if Tarnor built that for him and he transferred it over, or Soul Ripper Noob built that. But one of the two things did happen that both UEF. Of course, they also have an Omni sensor online. Love to see those, especially on the front lines. It essentially sees the entire map and sees everything in the crimson circle no matter what. So great intel positioning here by Soul Ripper Noob. We do see a couple of Lobos get by the defensive line. We do see a couple of engineers moving in to reclaim them. I think they'll get one of them. No. Oh, they almost grabbed one of them. Definitely unfortunate, but it's only 2 Lobos. It's not too bad, but it does make a difference. And look at this, the counter spam also outbound from Zwarzak, pushing back the naval fleet of Team 1's It's Coming Home. He has that T2 online. He's not going for T3 as of yet. I would be surprised if he doesn't go for that soon, just because, I mean, he really needs something to fight back at Team 2's main bases, especially with more defenses coming online all the time. Fireplane getting some nice readouts on Team 2 side of the map here for It's Coming Home. An ASF fight does occur. ASFs are caught napping, unfortunately, here for Soul Ripper Noob, and there'll be a huge advantage. Gunships move out of range, and this fight will commence, and Team 1 will have the upper hand in this, especially with some interceptors acting as nice little cannon fodder units for those ASFs, and it's just a slaughter in the sky here. Those gunships should have pulled out when they can. They had an opportunity to. They just didn't take it. Because of that, all of them and the ASS for Team 2 have been destroyed. The Ravagers now being built here to protect Soul Ripper Noob and push back on Team 1's counterattack. This group of Zui still pushing in here for Team 2's Zwarzak, and now going into the little fire base being built by It's Coming Home. And I mean, he's being forced back quite considerably. We do see still nobody that I've detected or seen so far has started an experimental on Team 1's side of the map. I feel like whoever might build one first might not necessarily win the game, but do a considerable amount of damage to make it possible for them to win. We do see it in that fleet is just grouping up. T3 might be being built here pretty shortly, but I guess not. Still going for more and more Salems. Wonder if there's a queue on this that I can look at. Looks like no, but we're going to build Barracudas and some Mermaids, but hasn't started the T3 upgrade as of yet. Missile launcher outbound, though, going for the T2 naval headquarters. It's going to hit the facility. It needs one more missile to kill it off. Is it going to be launched in time? It's from the commander. It's half loaded. Is Team 1 going to respond to that sooner rather than later? Of course, that is a, what is that? That is a Salem. I don't think Salems have TMD. Those would be the Sirens that have them. Yeah, they have torp defense. It looks like they're repairing it as we speak, so that missile will not be able to kill off that facility. We see some Othams forcing back this huge group of Zui. Of course, those dual cannons on board those Othams, very great for dealing with multitudes of units like this. Really just ripping those units apart quite quickly. Missile is not loaded in time. It looks like he's just going to abandon the project and move on to other things. Soul Ripper Noob in the southwest still pumping out missiles, killed off 15,000 mass. And he has built the Billy Nuke. He has upgraded to the Billy Nuke, so we'll see that here pretty shortly. He's going to take out a lot of defenses with that. Othams have now made it to the main landmass of Team 2's Zwarzak. Once again, of course, Zwarzak does have gun and T2 on board. He's going to go after those Zui. And now the incoming bombardment from the Navy has commenced. The Sirens also able to target land or naval units with their AA cannons. Not as effective, or in terms of the accuracy, but again, lead down range and that sort of thing is better than nothing. We do see that the Othams still kind of just cleansing everything in their path, staying out of range as Zwierzak's commander. They're like, oh, we know what he's doing. We know what he's doing. We got to move. And that missile is loaded. I don't know what he's going to go for. He could easily go for this grouping of units over there. And we'll see what he fires. I'm trying to keep a nice little wide little berth on that just to make sure that we do keep track of if it is fired and at what. Naval counterattack has commenced and finished, and now we see more Othans making their way forward, going after more and more of those mechs here for Team 2. Team 2 severely down on mass income, 1.2k mass income for Team 1 and 700 mass for Team 2. Over 500 mass more for Team 1 is a considerable amount to be down at 30 minutes. Almost 30 minutes even, not even 30 minutes. Do you see some T3 gunships also online for Ed's coming home, helping with the attack. And it's not looking good here for Zwierzak. We do see one of them tries to make it through, and Billy Nuke does land, taking out 4 mechs here for Team 1's. Joker once again, really just constantly being bombarded, these two players on this game. They are the frontline players in some regards, so it would make sense that they are the most attacked. But It's Coming Home does make a comment that it is a Billy. And we do see some more cruisers being built as well. And T2 torp launcher is going to be able to deter any sort of incoming pressure from these Perseus. Perseus only have the ability to go underwater, be transported, and their main cannon. They don't really have anything else. And these torpedo launchers are just enough to be able to hold them at bay. Because they were going to engage this base anyways, but it's just one of those, we're just going to direct them that way kind of thing. We do see an attack building here for Tarno in the south. And Schumer looks like he's directing his forces more westward, leaving the main frontal assault on the eastern side here to his teammate of It's Coming Home. We do see that Zwierzak is just going to move his comm forward and go after those naval units waiting in that little cove there. And honestly, those units don't have enough firepower to really, or direct fire, not only have direct firepower, but they don't have enough accuracy, at least on those sirens, to really make it effective against that Zwierzak's commander. You can see he's not really taking a lot of damage. A lot of the shots are missing. And that's Sword for Nuke. Billy Nuke has been reloaded. TMD is being built everywhere to counter it. And we do see some TMD of Team 1's Schumer moving in as well to assist, it looks like. Well, it's no, those are PD. Never mind, I thought they were TMD. Those are PD as well. Yeah, they're just moving to counter the attack in the south. I thought I saw TMD being built by him, but I guess not. Oh, there's one right there, but that's not enough to stop a Billy Nuke. Anyway, experimental has been built. There goes the Billy Nuke landing in this position. That's another grab here by Sword for Noob. He's now at 65,000 mass killed. The first experimental of the game is built, and it is a chicken built by the Seraphim player. And also a bug online for Soul Ripper Noob. Don't know which one was first. Possibly the bug. Maybe, maybe not. But pretty tied in terms of who built what when. But Team 1 has 2 experimentals online, and Team 2 has none at the current moment. Looks like, of course, they're more focused on T3 units. Which, I mean, this assault outbound from Tarnor coupled with the Billy Nuke from Solar Noob, it's really cracking Joker's and Schumer's defenses. It's essentially one player on Team 2 distracting one player on Team 1, and one player on Team 2 distracting 2 players on Team 1. Well, of course, we do see Schumer's forces moving in as well. But it's mainly like a spearheaded force by one. Chicken is now in range, and those Perseus are now making their way out of the water. The comm of Joker just waiting and watching what's happening. If he pops out of the water, he's dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He will be slaughtered almost instantly. More of those persons need to pop their guns out of the water. They really need to focus fire on that chicken. Of course, more and more governors are being thrown at this as well. Billy Nuke is outbound. It's going for Schumer's defenses, not going for this. There's so much Team D build, it kind of would make it pointless to fire it over there. And it's going after the position over here for the T3 land headquarters for Schumer. It's going to go up in flames. It's not going to go good for him. One Team D is fired. Kaboom! Takes out most of those defenses. And the T3 land headquarters is almost destroyed. in the east. Zwarzak witnessing the fight above his teammate's base. The bug is inbound, assisted by more T3 gunships going after, of course, the pigeons to cause a cascade effect. T3AA being built as quickly as it can be to deal with these gunships. Another pigeon goes offline. This one was saved by a reclaim order. And there's only a couple more pigeons. Is it going to be enough? This one explodes. But there's not really a lot of other pigeons that have already been damaged by an explosion or other sources of damage. So Team 2 will stave off disaster, get a nice little gift in Soul Ripper Mass. Great defensive work here by both of these players in the air department, really just pumping out what they can to assist with that attack. And again, in the west, more and more missiles overwhelming the TMDs on board those buzzkills. More and more buzzkills being built as we speak, and shields as well, trying to just stave off any sort of attack. Nuke is loaded once again, 85,000 mass killed on board that commander. And Macker's mass is being sent to Joker just to assist with other defensive efforts from its coming home, and also to finish the second chicken off, to be fair. Nuke is built here and half loaded here for Team 1's. It's coming home. Does Team 2 have any adequate SMD coverage? Yes, and it is loaded. This one up here is non-existent, so Zwarzak's probably going to be the target of the first nuke, or Team 1's going to go after Solar Noob in the water. That might be a plan of attack, kind of relieve a little bit of the burdens that is being felt by Team 1, especially on this western side. On the eastern side here, still counterattack starting to be mounted once again, but there's just so much firepower from all of these sirens. Those weaker T1 units that just can't really make a dent. More shields are going to be built to protect the mass investments once again. Missile is outbound going after more T2 mexes, I would surmise, or T3 mexes. Nope, T2 mexes. Yep. Another T2 mex taken offline. Team 1 at 1.2 and Team 2 starting to catch up at 800 mass income. So that gap is now shortened from 500 to 300. Again, it is a decent amount of mass to still be behind, but they are fighting back. That Nuke will most likely be shot down due to all the TMD that's here. Oh, yes, it does impact, though. It takes out the capacity on board this shield. This shield just barely staves off being taken offline. But of course, that allows more and more of those missiles to be fired. Torp bombers being thrown at this, dealing with the cruisers. Solar Noob is right on the edge of the water and is able to pop out if he needs to be. Nuke is going to be thrown at Team 2's base down here. It's going to be in the middle of this dual air grid that's being kind of just sandwiched together here by both of these UEF players. But SMD is loaded, so one missile will be batted out of the sky. Here's going to be another one mass loaded, possibly. But a Scathis has been started by It's Coming Home. 34 minutes on the clock, and one player in the game has gone for a game ender. So we'll see if that is built. Another Nuke is outbound, but the TMD is starting to be lessened, and they're not being as overwhelmed as they once were. It gets shot out of the sky, unfortunately. So he has to rethink his strategy for just throwing Nukes at his opponent at this point. But with that T4 mobile artillery unit on the way, he's actually reclaiming the nuke as well. It's funny, we see some assistance going down and some reclaiming. It's like, hey guys, can we come up with some sort of strategy of like, hey, I want to get rid of it. Also, it's volatile, so he doesn't want to control K it, so he wants to reclaim it. I don't blame him in that regard. That was a spy plane or something up there. Lots of efforts to go for that one spy plane. He really wants to keep that secret project secret for as long as he can. And if that Scathis is able to fire and Team 2 does not get more shield coverage, which they are starting to be fair, it's going to be devastating. We do see a Duke T3 heavy artillery installation. It's been started. Nuke lands against the chicken. And of course, we do see Solar Ripper Noob is fleeing inside of it. He is in the water, so he won't be targeted by the chicken's weaponry, but he still has to stay underneath the surface or he will be targeted quite quickly. Torp bombers are inbound though, so he might not have a choice. He's either going to be killed off by torp bombers or killed off by the chicken, possibly, if that trajectory does continue to go for it. And one of the cruisers is taken out. There's not a lot of AA here. I feel like Solar Noob could easily build a couple more, at least T2 flak or something to deal with those torp bombers. And he cannot build the cruisers to replace the ones he's losing quick enough. It looks like the attack in the east has essentially just died down. A couple of sniper bots over here are just kind of waiting to die. I don't have any air anymore. Make air says it's coming home. So we do see a secondary air player has emerged in the form of Schumer, and a FAF boy is now online, and more T3 land facilities just being thrown at their opponents. Make cruiser says it's coming home, and now we see that the Scathus is in the yellow. Over 25% completed here for Team 1. The chicken has redirected its efforts to go for this fire base that Soul Ripper stole from Team 1, technically, if you want to think of it that way. But that chicken will be fine. It's going to take a decent amount of damage, but it'll be perfectly fine, especially with that Fat Boy acting as the guard dog for Team 1. It's not really going to amount to a whole lot. I mean, we did see that It's Coming Home says he doesn't have air. He definitely has air. He doesn't have more than Team 2, but he has something. It's not like he has nothing. And that artillery installation is been abandoned at this point. I don't know what he's moving to. I wonder if he's thinking about other project. SMD is going to be loaded once again. More and more shields being thrown together. And satellites have been started by Tarno. So it's going to be experimental satellite defense systems versus a experimental mobile giant, like bug-like artillery unit. It's actually been paused because probably It's Coming Home is either stockpiling mass or he doesn't have mass. And it looks like he doesn't have mass would be the optimal thing to say. It looks like transport with Solar Prince Noob now moving into the west, the east from the west. He's on the Continental, so he'll be protected a little bit more than the other T2 transports. Zvarzak builds an experimental. Most likely it is a chicken. I saw another experimental built. An Awasaw bomber has possibly been started by Team 1. T3 Navy is online, and the Crab is over here. Billy Nuke is outbound over here. There's how many TMDs are here? Not that many. Oh, it was just enough. It was just enough to protect that Trimex. Is it a Trimex or is it? It is a Quad Mex position here. And we did even see that It's Coming Home did move out of range as well, so no issues there for him. But it does look like Team 2 is mounting an attack now in the middle. Charno has built an experimental. It's going to be that satellite. Satellite has now been completed. He's not going to start throwing that at his opponent. Very much a dead eastern front here. There's really not a lot fighting back or fighting there and back. We do see that the chicken is moving forward with a couple of Zooey units. There is now the Crab that has emerged from the surface of the water. But the chicken is focused on the naval units, not the experimental. And the Billinuk lands on top of the T3 naval headquarters, taking out all of the build power and, of course, most of the hit points. We do see that the T3 and T2 army from Charno moving in, cutting off a vital resource for Team 1's Schumer. He was building an Awasaw bomber, building being the being the optimal word in that sentence, because the fact that, of course, he was doing that. Now he's not currently doing that. Now he's spamming up TMD and trying to hold off this incursion. But he's now being assisted by Joker, throwing together a bunch of Riptides to go after probably the T2 naval headquarters here for Solar Pernoob. And a chicken down here also just continuing to march forward. So multiple bases being taken offline on both sides of the map here. And we do see that the units are just lining up on the shoreline, at least the ones that cannot go into the water. But, of course, there's a lot of T3AA here. And we do see that it is being targeted by those whalers, but there's just so much flak and direct fire T3 AA support that those experimentals, those whalers don't really have a lot of things going for them. We do see that T3 naval headquarters is being rebuilt not super quickly, but it's getting more engineers out to do so. And the chicken has been defeated over there to the east. And in the west, those units are in the water. I think they're going for that Scathus if they see it. Maybe he's just going for the air grid. He doesn't know the Scathus is there, so he's going to do some damage to the power production facilities here for Team 1. And if this satellite moves just a little bit more northward, they'll see the Scathus. And, of course, some of those Perseus are now out of the surface, so they can be targeted. And Chicken moves into intercept very quickly here. And, of course, there's a monkey as well, so that attacking Force doesn't really do a whole lot, unfortunately, here for Team 2. Of course, the air grid is now offline for Schumer, so the only air grid remaining is that of It's Coming Home. We do see that the comm of Solar Pernoob has now transported himself to the northern side of the middle. There are 2 FAF warriors nearby, and he launches a Billy Nuke. He needs to get back on that transport. The transport is being targeted. The question is, can the transport get out before his comm is killed off? No, it is not killed off by Team 1. Billy Nuke is outbound. It's not looking good. I don't think there's a lot of TMD here. Oh, never mind. There is TMD here. And those TMD zappers go, no. No, and there goes a PGen, though, anyways, due to the satellite and the Percy combination. That's got to hurt. Half of that air grid is gone. Of course, Team 2 now sees the Scathis, and shields are being built quite quickly to try to deal with this. And all of the emitters are being targeted. Love to see that. And an explosion in the south. Team 2 loses Solar Pernoob to Schumer. Looks like that was due to a chicken or something. I might cut in how Solar Pernoob died because he was on a transport, and I don't see. Oh, the game lagged there for a second. I don't. That is the transport wreck. So it looks like it was shot down. Definitely unfortunate here for Team 2 Solar Pernoob. And those Percys still making their way forward. Are they going to be able to kill off that Scathis? They have to actually get through a shield that's constantly being rebuilt to deter those shots from said Percys. But that Scathis is about to go down. There he goes. The Scathis has now been destroyed. It wasn't even completed, but it was destroyed. Unfortunate here for It's Coming Home. That's so much mass that he devoted to that. That's got to hurt. And now the satellite is paying so many dividends here for Tarno. And in the middle of the map here, Janus moving in, going after the Fat Boys, really just baking them in holy fire. And more being thrown at these guys. There's really not much that Team 1 can do about it. There's so many fighter bombers, and Team 2 has so much air, it just doesn't even make a difference. I don't know why the game's like pausing. It's just doing that ever since I zoomed in on that wreck for the Continental. GG says Joker. I mean, it's not GG as of yet. Team 1 can come back from this. There's a lot of Janus here, but that doesn't mean that Team 1's out of this as of yet, though. I still feel like I don't know why it's pausing so much. It shouldn't be, but like I said, I will cut in how specifically Soul Ripper died. I feel like his transport was shot down. That's the only thing that I can think of. But I mean, wasn't really any air that I saw down there. Maybe there was some air forces remaining or something that went after him. We do see those Janus now going for the main base of Joker, going for all of his P-gens. And with the Fat Boys offline, lots of mass on the field, currently sitting at 182,000. And that mass is only, of course, going up and up and up. Not rebuilding the Scathis. Going for artillery instead for It's Coming Home. At least T3 stationary artillery. And this one for Zwarzak, technically for Solar Pernoob, has still not been finished, but you know, it's still hanging there. It's almost in the green, so it's making its way there. Teleport has been started by It's Coming Home, so he's thinking about how to end the game in an explosive way. He's lost most of his mass income just due to the fact that he just doesn't have the power. 50,000. Obviously, he's also building the teleporter, which requires a lot of power, but he's lost a lot of his, T3 P-gens anyways on top of that, so he's really suffering in the power department. T3 Naval Headquarters is still online there for him, and a bunch of engineers sitting there waiting to be given orders. But we see some T3 battleships online here for Zwarzak, and this is going to cut any sort of hope that Team 1 has of reestablishing themselves in Navy. We can create my bad laddies, or ladies, excuse me. That's it. Yeah. It's Coming Home at 20%. Will he build a teleporter, or just will he teleport out of there via a recall, or will he teleport and blow up on something on Team 2 side of the map? We'll just have to see and find out. Our sub bomber moving in. Another explosion to the west. Looks like Joker Control K's bomb lands, takes out that grouping of T3 Mechs and supporting Mass Fabs. Bomber is inbound. All the ASFs are wiped out of the sky almost instantaneously. And that bomber's going straight for the commander of It's Coming Home. There it goes. It's going to land right on top of him. All of his build power is gone. He's in the red for his hit points. One more bomb and that will kill him. Looks like the bomber's still going for other targets. Now going for Schumer's base. Doesn't really do that much damage, unfortunately. And will it drop one more time before it? Nope, it does not. It has to turn around. We do see in the middle, though, Team 1's throwing all of their chickens at what they, just what they have at Team 2. And they are starting to break through, though. One of them will die before it reaches the main facilities, though. And another explosion happens, kills off some RAS comms or SACU comms. They don't have to exactly be RAS comms. It could be other things. But just the amount of Janus T2 fighter bombers. There's 60 of them raining fire down all the time. 9,000 hit points and falling quite quickly here. There it goes. It is done and dusted. One more is online. It's not going to do a lot of damage, unfortunately. Team 1 bomber is also being thrown together. Another chicken making its way forward. Bomber actually called home, not wanting to dump its mass on Team 1 side of the map, I would assume. And T3 artillery coming in from those battleships. There goes another chicken, so one more chicken remains. And I feel like at this point, with those chickens dead, Team 2 has enough mass to really win the game. Are they going to finish the artillery? No, I don't think they'll finish the artillery. They have so many T1 and T2 fighter bombers, and they have an Hoursaw bomber going after some AA defenses. Another chicken is going to be the main target of all of those T1 bombers. And Schumer Control K is leaving this just up to It's Coming Home. T1 Zooey moving in to deal with a ton of eco here that It's Coming Home had. He had it, and then it's gone now. Of course, Team 2 knows where Team 1's last remaining comm is because they targeted it a while ago. At least they assume it's there. Oh yeah, they definitely assume that it's there. And it's just the crash is coming here for Team 1's economy. It's just suffering in every which way. Bomber is almost destroyed. It will get shot down. There it goes. T2 Tort bombers are inbound, going for the comm. The comm is regened back up into the high yellows. But Tort bombers are moving in, dropping him into the red, and there he goes. Team 1's last remaining player is killed off. And that is a win here for Team 2 at 48 minutes and 55 seconds. Team 2 wins the game. MVP, honestly, I think Soul Ripper Noob's constant just billy nuking everywhere was a really great play. And then you had the huge push by Tarnor. He was very solid throughout the match. There wasn't like a very high, the only high moment I think for him would have been the Percy group that moved in and came in and assisted the satellite that he built to go after that Scathis. If the Scathis was built, Team 1 would be obviously in a way better position. Maybe would have been enough for Team 2 to fall back a little bit more, and it would have been a little bit more of a quote-unquote even game at that point. But I think with the Scathis going offline, maybe Tornor gets MVP for me. It's really hard. It's tough because Zwarzek just got pummeled constantly, so there's really not a whole lot he could do until the later ends of the match. Soul Ripper Noob was constantly solid, going out there with his Billy Nukes, just back and forth, just everywhere, pumping those things out. Really kept Team 1 at bay, at least on the Western Front, and tried to do it on the Eastern Front. Didn't have as much success. Almost got through with his first Billy Nuke, but decided to move in and then was shot down, which I will cut in here in a moment. And I think because of that, I think Tarnor gets the MVP for me. Let me know down in the comments if you feel that way or not. Of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And now let's take a look at how exactly Soul Ripper Noob died in the southern section of the middle. Okay, I've gone back to the point where Soul Ripper Noob gets on the transport after it was shot. Oh, well, I actually slow it down because I sped it up to get back to this point. So he gets back on the transport. And he heads off in this direction. Obviously, he does get shot down over here or gets killed down here. We do see that there is the chicken nearby. And there's the comms transport. Does it just get shot down by the flag? We see that it is spotted, and there are some ASF nearby, and they catch the comm as he's trying to land. So that's what happened, is essentially there was some fighting going on. The transport was spotted by Schumer, and Schumer moved his ASF in and killed him off. That's how he died. He most likely would have died to the chicken. Maybe, maybe not. If the comm was able to land, he had to have like immediately walked. It might have been enough time with all of the Janus moving in to save him, but either way, I think he would have died regardless. Had he went anywhere else on the map for the most part, he would have been fine. Or at least anywhere on his side of the map, he would have been fine. But anyway, that is how he died. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, and I will see all of you in the next one.